Hello, hello, hello. We have some visuals today. Oh, I hear myself on my phone, so we're we're live. Three, two, one. We are live. Hi, everyone. Today is all about wedding dance tips. Please let a friend know, and lots of tips to share for you today. If you have a wedding coming up in 2020, whether you're the bride, whether you're the parents, most of these tips are really for the bride and groom, but there'll be some tips along the way for social dancers as well. So we are all about wedding dance tips today. So before we get started, I'll go over a couple of highlights with you, things that are coming up. I'll put my little sign down. But this is kind of for the fellas. I went into a local deli last week. It was post lunch rush. It was kind of quiet in there, and the owner was sitting with a gentleman. It looks like they were placing orders, and I recognized the gentleman as one of my grooms from 9 years ago. So I went over to say hello. It was a really quick but sweet reunion, and he just raved about his experience. So I'm thrilled that it can make a difference for the guys as well. He said it was so nice to be able to dance to the music, to be with his bride, to be able to do a little dip with her, and he just really raved. So I wish that for all the grooms that they have such a good experience. So if you're tuning in today, probably, let's see here, let me just check. If you are tuning in, do give a thumbs up or a comment. Let me know that you're here. And if you see the little crawler here, I always say scroller, but crawler right here. Okay. You know somebody getting married this year? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Give them a tap on the shoulder. Let them know. Let them know I'm here today talking about wedding dance tips. So before we get into that, of course, this would lead right in, perfect timing. Last week's topic was a little, serious about meeting different folks on the dance floor. So today is certainly a little more lighthearted, so to speak. But we do have a wedding dance workshop this Friday the 13th. So don't let that scare you off. Marley will be teaching. It's a 2-hour social dance workshop. So we do need at least 4 dancers in the group for that night. So if you want to register, please go to ballroommadesimple.com and look for the wedding dance workshop for March 13th. Now, in that workshop, she'll go over a couple of tempos, 2 to 3 tempos, so that you get acquainted with them, a couple of different dance styles. And if we have a bridal couple in the class and you know your song, send it to us ahead of time, and she can have it on the playlist during the instruction so that you can start to work with that. So wedding dance workshop, it is typically the second Friday of the month year round, but do check the calendar just to make sure in case there's a holiday that prevents us from having it, where we know people might be traveling a lot and not scheduling something for that weekend. We're coming up on just week 2 of beginner waltz. They worked so hard last week. I really threw something at them for the beginners. So they worked really hard. Congratulations. And we'll continue our waltz journey this week. Date night is in a week and a half, Friday, March the 20th. We'll be learning the rumba. So date night, rumba is the dance of love. What better date night workshop to join us for? Okay, so that's the 20th. Be sure to sign up by the 18th of March so we know to expect you. East Coast Swing, beginner East Coast Swing, single time swing starts Thursday, April the 2nd for 4 weeks, progressive class. And then we're going to have a little swing dance party, a date night swing dance party. All are welcome on Friday, May the 1st. Music provided by our good friend Everett Spells. He'll be providing our music that night. So it's $5 at the door. No need to pre-register. Would love to have you there. All right, so let's talk a little bit about preparing for your first dance or your wedding dance as bride and groom. So many tips along the way that could help you, have a successful dance. The first one, and I'm going to be looking at some notes again so I don't make sure or that I don't miss anything. The first thing is to plan in advance. And typically I would say, if you're looking for a big rah-rah kind of performance, you're probably talking 6 months in advance. But if you're looking for more of a traditional and you just want to, look nice on the dance floor and be able to move around without looking like you're dancing in high school, then I would say a minimum of 2 months. Give yourself about anywhere from 4 to 6 lessons. And we know that things are going to crop up that you may have to cancel. So you want to include a couple extra weeks in your planning for buffer. I know I've had brides say, oh, the florist called and they need to meet with us tonight. We have to cancel our lesson. Things like that do come up. So if you're looking for 4 to 6 lessons, then give yourself at least 8 weeks. The sooner you can start means the more time you are dancing together. And the more time you can dance together with your partner, then your level of success will be higher because you get to know each other, you get to know your movements, you get to know your communication styles. And so the more you can be together as a couple, the better off you'll be and the more confidence you'll have. So, and that's a big part of it. And then, I'm going to get into this a little bit later, but then you want to dance as much as possible before the wedding. But so I would say a minimum of 8 weeks ahead of your wedding date, more if you can, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, the more, whatever your budget will allow. Here at Ballroom Made Simple, we can start you with the wedding workshops and then move you into some private lessons. And that would be probably a little more budget friendly for you because you'll get 2 hours each workshop of dancing with each other. And then we can fine tune anything that you might be struggling with or trying to help you overcome a hurdle, maybe just 2 or 3 lessons, private lessons to help you kind of polish up last minute looks. Okay. So let's talk about first about what kind of clothes typically, when you come to class, when you come to a bridal lesson, so many come, especially in the summer, if you're getting ready for fall, so many couples come in shorts and tennis shoes and, super, super casual. So what I would recommend is, that would certainly be okay for the first couple lessons, but then you want to start to migrate into clothes that will mimic what you'll be wearing on your wedding day. So ladies, I would suggest you start wearing a long skirt, something that is going to mimic your wedding dress. If it's full, wear a full skirt if you can. If it's going to be very fitted, wear something fitted so that you can make sure you can move around. The main thing is to make sure that the groom now is comfortable dancing with material around your feet. Because if you're going to be doing like a foxtrot or a waltz where his foot is going to be coming in between your feet, when you're practicing in shorts and tennis shoes, you're not going to get that feeling. You're not going to get that experience. So that's a real biggie for me, is to make sure that the guy also feels comfortable, that the groom feels comfortable, making sure as soon as his foot hits material, which he's not used to, oftentimes with early practice, that he has a comfort level with that. So what kind of dance styles are popular, I would say, for ballroom dances? Let's see who we have here. Elizabeth, hey, and I think I also see Joyce. Thanks, ladies, for tuning in. Give a shout out in the comments if you would too. Let me know that you're here. and say hello to everybody. But I guess one of the most traditional dances for bridal couples, or one of the more popular ones, would be a foxtrot. Foxtrot. This is a dance that you can move around the floor, travel around the floor, or we can even make it a little more stationary if your dance floor is not going to be very big. So this is really good for like big band songs, Frank Sinatra, Michael Bublé, some of the old crooners. But I'll tell you what, Seal has a new CD out with some classic songs, and he's got a couple of really good foxtrots that I've been playing in classes. So you might look into those. So foxtrot is one of the popular ones. Okay. So another popular one, and foxtrot, it can kind of be, very smooth. It can also be, slightly peppy. Depends on the song that you choose and how rigorous of a beat there is. But one that might be slightly more romantic with lyrics, and sometimes it can have a melancholy sound to it too. So you want to make sure you pick the right one. Would be a waltz. Let's go this side. A waltz, a beautiful slow waltz. So romantic, whimsical, light, feather-like movements in my humble opinion, and very romantic, very the grooms can give off a very masculine feel for this. The brides can be angelic-like, and you can find some beautiful waltzes. Fascination is one that I think of off the top of my head. Edelweiss from Sound of Music is lovely. So there are a lot of beautiful waltz songs to choose from. So waltz might be another one to think about. And another one would be very popular with some of the songs that are played, would be the romantic rumba. It is the dance of love, the romantic rumba. Songs like you might hear from Michael Bublé, Quando, Quando, Quando. I'm terrible with titles off the top of my head, but there are lots of song titles over in the VIP group that I have, where I upload for Music Monday. So you'll have an idea of some musical options and song options for you. But the rumba is a slower Latin dance. It has a slow, quick timing to it, and it is quite romantic. So that is also a good dance to select. So rumba is not a traveling dance like the waltz and the foxtrot. It's what we would call a stationary dance. So it doesn't mean you stay right in the very same, 18 square inches. But you can move around a little bit, but it's not typically one that you, roam around the floor with, but lovely nonetheless. Okay. And then one that probably is not thought of a lot, which I would love to do sometime. I have a really pretty little song for this, a wedding song that I'm just waiting to use for somebody who wants to do a tango. A tango, something that typically is not thought about, I don't think, for weddings. It's going to depend on your song, because tango has a very definite sound to it. So I'll come back over here. For tango, it has a definite sound to it, a definite tempo. It can be a little sort of a love-hate relationship sound. So you don't want that. You want something romantic. So there are some pretty tango songs out there. So we have some tango, some rumba, some waltz, and some foxtrot. Those, I'd say, would be some of the more popular dances. So, all right, let's see here. So we've talked a little bit about what dance styles are popular, what kind of clothing. Let's see here. Oh, a tip for the grooms. Grooms, listen up. Grooms, listen up to this. And it's only because I saw it myself one time. So when you're getting ready to do your first dance, if you are wearing a watch on your left hand and you're going to be doing a turn, I would say remove the watch, hand it over to your best man, and get it after the dance. Because I've actually seen one time where the watch clip got a little uh, tucked into the bride's hair just for a split second. It just kind of pulled her hair, not extremely, but enough that I saw it. So grooms, take note. If it were me, I would remove your watch, hand it over to your best man, and reclaim it after the dance. We don't want any hooks or anything to, kind of get into the hair of the bride. That's for sure. Okay, let's see here. Now, when you start your lessons, if it were me, I would go to as many dances as you can and work on that pattern that you're working on with your instructor. Go to the USA dances, go to the smaller venue dances. It doesn't matter where. Just get used to dancing in front of other people. Try to get the jitters and the nerves down a little bit, because you will be nervous. You're going to be dancing in front of friends and loved ones. But if you can start dancing in public a little bit with people around you, people watching you, they don't typically watch and stare, but if you're on the dance floor, people kind of scan the floor to see who's up there, but they're not going to be focused on you. But if you can find a quiet spot on the dance floor or in the middle and work on your pattern, get used to that. Get used to having people watch you, because they are going to be watching you at your wedding. So, check out the schedules for the local ballroom dances in Salisbury, Easton, and Dover area up north. And attend as many of those as you possibly can. And great practice. Practice at home, but this is a good way to practice when there's other people around. Okay, let's see. What else do I have here that I don't want to miss? Oh, a couple of tips when it comes to photography, and I'm sure the photographers already know this, but for the brides, if you're somebody who doesn't wear makeup and you don't like to wear makeup and you're uncomfortable wearing makeup, then talk to your photographer, because they will probably want you to wear something for pictures just so that you pop. So, talk to whoever's going to do your makeup, talk to your photographer, get some tips from them. Doesn't mean you have to go hot and heavy on the makeup. They'll give you some great tips, because every move you make is a photo op, right? On the wedding day, for dancing, make sure you're smiling. You are smiling. Don't let the stress take over. Your photographer is looking for great photo opportunities. So be ready and smiling. And if you have worked on a special step, if you have worked on a special dip or a special pose, I would alert the photographer to that. Maybe even show it to them so that they know, and let them know when it's coming in the dance. Is it at the beginning? Is it at the opening? Is it halfway through? Is it your finale, your ending? So that they can be ready to capture that moment with your beautiful smiles and have that memory for a lifetime. So review that with your photographer. And don't forget to smile. I said already, don't forget to smile. And when it comes to music, now, we're always happy to help you connect with music. We've got lists galore for wedding dance music with Ballroom Made Simple. We're happy to help you with that if you haven't made a choice or struggling with that. Something that I think of, and I guess this is sort of, I don't know, maybe selfish on my part, but when I think about songs, and some couples come with some really, really modern songs that, of course, speak to them. The tempo sometimes is a little hard to grasp if you're a new dancer. Every now and then it's hard for me to grasp. Sometimes there's just not much of a tempo. But, for parents and grandparents and older family members that might be attending, I think about them and having a song maybe that also maybe speaks to them a little bit, so that they can really, get enveloped into your special dance and your song. So not necessary, just something to think about. How modern do you want your song to be, or how traditional you would like your song to be? Now, if you're having a DJ versus live music, so with a DJ, you want to talk to them, after you've gotten your routine down, you've worked through your song, you've worked with your instructor on, the opening and the ending, and maybe the song is longer than your routine, which I would expect. I'd say 2 minutes tops, uh, 90 seconds. 2 minutes, I would say top. I've had them 2.5. You try to find a break in the song, right? So you try to find that break where the DJ can maybe fade out the song as you're doing your final dip or your pose. So talk to your DJ about starting. Another thing, unless you talk to your DJ, when you start the dance, they may have already started the song. And if they're not aware that maybe you have a special opening, then that song has started and it might throw you off. So if you are doing a special opening exactly to the opening of the song, then be sure to talk to the DJ and make sure that he knows or she knows that they shouldn't start that song until you are in place and ready to go. Okay. And the same for fading out. You can actually give them, let's say, okay, at a minute 55, you'll hear a break, it'll go to music, and we can fade it out there. We can help you find that spot in the song too. So now live music, sometimes, which is awesome, it may not sound the same as the recorded version. The band may not play the same exact tempo. It may be a little faster, maybe a little slower. That could throw you off. So, unless you know for sure, or you can get a recording of them playing your song, you might want to think about the recorded version just for that one moment, just so that you know that the tempo that you're familiar with will be what you're familiar with on the wedding day, right? So let's see, what else? Lots to think about that maybe you haven't before. We talked about the ladies' makeup. Do you have any questions? Anybody tuning in? If you do, please comment. Let me know you're here, and let's just check here. Okay, so if you have questions if you have a wedding coming up, you need help with music, you need help with any recommendations, we'll be happy to sit down with you as part of your first appointment, your first lesson. We'll map out what your goals are, how many lessons you feel that you need, what your budget can afford. I would recommend planning on at least 4 to 5 if you're looking for an opening, a little pattern, and a closing. If you're not worried about the first and the last and you just want to start dancing, then probably 3 would do it. It depends on how much you're willing to practice and the time that you put into it to get comfortable. So, but do ask if you have any questions along the line. Be sure to don't forget here now, right there. Okay. After the fact, you can let a bride and groom know, share the tips with them. I hope you found them helpful. And if you have any questions, just watch us on the replay. You can post replay if you have any questions. And if you want, I'll put together a PDF for you. And if you would like that free PDF on these wedding tips, I'll be happy to send it to you. So I will post a link asking for your contact information so that I can send it off to you, okay? So if you want that, be sure to respond accordingly and we'll get that off to you, okay? So again, our next wedding dance workshop with this topic being wedding dance tips is this Friday with Marley, 6:30 to 8:30. It's a 2-hour workshop. And so be sure to sign up for that if you have a wedding in the near future. It's also a great social dance workshop. Even if you're not getting married, but you're attending a wedding in the spring, it's perfect. It's perfect. It gets you moving and grooving on the dance floor. So I'm going to sign off. I thank you ever so much. I'm grateful that you are here and that you're tuning in. And I will say until next time, don't forget to keep it simple.